Hi students, and we're going to take a look at polynomials and the vocabulary. So the first thing we're talking about are these individual terms. So terms in algebra, so these are either a single number or a single variable or numbers and variables multiplied together. So for instance, this is an example of numbers and variables multiplied together, 4x. 7 is an example of a single number. 5 is an example of a single number. And in general, when we say single numbers, we're going to use the term constants. So let's take a look at this one. We have 5xy squared. Now remember, you're allowed to multiply numbers and variables together. So you can have variables of different types being multiplied, and that's still considered one term. So we have here the term 5xy squared, the term 3x, the term 5y cubed, and the term 3. We're allowed to add and subtract our terms however we choose. This is called a collection of terms. So in general, a collection of terms, as we've defined terms, are polynomials. And if we have a single term, we call that a monomial. If we have two terms being added together or subtracted, then they are binomial. And if we have three terms being collected together, addition or subtraction, or a mix, then we have a trinomial. So let's take a look at things that we're not going to consider to be these monomials. So first off, a monomial can't have anything but a positive number for an exponent. So if I have x to the half, this is not a monomial. And because x to the half is equal to the square root of x, we also can't have roots on our variables. So no variables can have these kind of fractional exponents that don't reduce down to a positive whole number, and we can't have any roots that don't simplify down to just regular old variables. So what else can't we have? Well, we can't have any variable that has a negative exponent. And similarly, because the representation of variables with negative exponents are variables in the denominator of rational expressions, we can't have those either. So no roots of any kind on our variables, no fractional exponents of any kind that don't simplify on our variables, and no negative exponents on our variables, and no variables in the denominator. So these are all things that we don't consider monomials. So the idea here is, though, that these are perfect things to have for your constants. So these are not allowed, but the following things are perfectly okay. So for instance, the square root of 2 times x, that is a monomial. 3 to the negative 4 times x to the 5, this is also a monomial. Notice that what defines a monomial or not is simply by what's happening to the variable. So as long as the variable just has a positive exponent, we're fine, and you can have whatever thing multiplying out front you choose. So this can be any real number. The only restriction is really on what type of exponent. So just remember that you're allowed to have positive whole number exponents on your variables and nothing else.